Are you an Overwatch player and wanting to maybe try out Marvel Rivals? Well, I'm going to be explaining some characters that you might want to play if you main certain characters in Overwatch. In this video, I'm going to be focusing on the tanks. However, in later videos, I will also do the DPS and the supports. Let's start off with D.Va. If you're a D.Va main, one of the main things that you probably like about D.Va is that she technically has a second life. And as it so happens to be, there's a tank in Marvel Rivals that also has a second life, which is the Hulk. Now the cool thing about the Hulk is that the Hulk also has quite a bit of mobility just like D.Va. However, you cannot fly around, you can jump far distances with the Hulk. His range abilities are limited, but if you are playing as D.Va, you probably usually want to be close up and personal with the enemy anyway. Some people are saying you should play as Penny Parker if you like playing as D.Va. However, the two characters are quite different. They do both have mechs, but the characters are really not the same. Now let's move on to Doomfist. If you are a Doomfist player, you'll probably really enjoy playing either the Winter Soldier or for the God of Thunder. As the Winter Soldier, you can easily knock up your enemies just like the original Doom. And also with his ultimate, you'll be able to slam down onto the ground, feeling sort of similar to Doom's slam. Now when it comes to Thor, you can actually charge up your hammer sort of similar to how you would be charging up your fists, allowing you to travel further and hit targets a little harder. Now let's talk about Junkerqueen. Junkerqueen doesn't really have anyone specifically, however you do have Psylocke, who has a similar ability where she can throw out some shurikens and when they return they can hit the target again, just like Junkerqueen's knife. This also heals you a little bit, so it's very similar. Now if you're somebody who really likes playing as Mauga, the only character I can really recommend for you is the Punisher, with his ultimate. His ultimate basically is a Mauga ability which allows him to have 2 miniguns and just destroy anything in front of him, just like Mauga. Now the closest thing to Orisa is actually Rocket Raccoon, and I'm actually more talking about the old Orisa than the newer one. With the old Orisa, you would be able to put down bongos which damage boosts your entire team in a certain area. This is the same with Rocket Raccoon. He can put down a device that damage boosts his team around him too. Plus his primary fire is quite similar to Orisa's. Now, if you're a Ramattra main, I'm sorry to say, there's not really a character out there that has similar abilities to Ramattra. The closest thing I can think about is Thor with his ability to change into his lightning damage, but his playstyle is quite different. Now we move on to Reinhardt. Now Reinhardt is a mix between Magneto, Doctor Strange, and Thor, the God of Thunder. Now with Thor, you can swing his hammer around, hitting multiple targets just like Reinhardt, but you can also use your dash forward sort of like his charge. And with Magneto and obviously Doctor Strange, you have the ability to put up a shield defending your team, which is a very important role Reinhardt does. Now let's move on to Roadhog. Now Roadhog, the only character I can really see being very similar, is the Winter Soldier. The Winter Soldier has an ability where he can pull characters towards him and at the same time give him a couple of headshots, giving him the same sort of feel as Roadhog's hook with his shotgun. Now we move on to my fellow Dutchman, Sigma. Now Sigma is literally just Magneto. Magneto has a shield that he can put up just like Sigma. He also has an ability where he can basically fire out a projectile and it will explode at a certain distance. It doesn't bounce around walls though, but it is very similar. You also have Magneto's ultimate, where he flies up into the air, but instead of lifting people from the ground in a certain area, he collects a whole bunch of garbage and throws it at the enemy, dealing serious damage. Now we move on to Winston, which is very similar to the Hulk. The Hulk can jump around just like Winston, and he can also go into his primal rage form basically, allowing Hulk to smash even more. And just like the Winston ult, when you slap someone with Hulk's ultimate form, you also knock them away, just like the Winston ult. Now let's talk about the main tank that I play, Wrecking Ball. Now Wrecking Ball is very similar to Spider-Man and Venom. Now this is obviously due to the swinging mechanics that Spider-Man and Venom have. Now the thing is, Venom has also the adaptive shields that Wrecking Ball has, making them even better to play if you're a Wrecking Ball player. Now the last tank, but definitely not least, Zarya. Now Zarya is basically a combo between Magneto and the Hulk. They both have the ability to shield their teammates with a bubble, allowing them to survive situations that they really shouldn't have. Magneto is probably a little bit more like Zarya just because you can pop a shield onto anyone in front of you. However, with the Hulk, he needs to be very close to them to activate the shield. Now those are all the Marvel Rivals characters that you should play if you main any of these characters in Overwatch. If you like this video, why not stick around, because I'm also going to be making one for the support and one for the DPS of Overwatch.